I don't think there's a lot of people that understand how money is created. And it's very important that we all understand how money is created. I mean, this is so important. People should be talking about this at the dinner table. They should forget about American Idol and Survivor and all those other reality shows. This should be the #1 topic of what can we do about this paper money that we use, monopoly money, backed by nothing, created out of thin air, that's going to bring us to our ultimate demise. But what can we do about it? Well, we have to get informed. We have to slowly try and get back onto a type of currency that's actually backed by something. Gold and silver been real money for thousands of years. Gold maintains its value over time. The paper money that we use is created out of nothing. It's all debt. You know, if they were to take away all of the loans that have been made over time, just erase them all, there would be not a single dime in existence. All money is debt. It comes from nothing. And I'm going to share a quick story on how it comes from nothing, and try to explain real quickly on the creation of the Federal Reserve. You know, the Federal Reserve System was created over 7 days, I believe. There were 7 bankers that represented 1/4 of the world's wealth at the time. They had a secret meeting on Jekyll Island. These gentlemen represented the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the Morgans. And this was all the money. And they sold it to the people by saying, well, here's this system that can help with all the problems that we're having with the banks. Well, that's like the fox building the hen house and then putting in the alarm system on the hen house, the security system. I mean, the people bought into this, and this is what we've been doing for 100 years. So, real quick, I'm talking about the creation of money. The Congress spend all their money. They spend money to make you think what great people they are. They provide programs and everything. And so they run out of money. So they go to the Treasury and say, hey, I need some money. And the Treasury says, well, you spent all the money. And he says, yeah, well, I need some more. And he said, okay, well, I'll make up these bonds. Make some little nice curly Q's on the corners of them and some big numbers. And the people will loan us the money that we need. And so they loan them the money, and they're quick to loan the money. You know, it's backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. So they want to loan the money to them. So the congressman gets the money lent to him from the citizens, but that's still not enough. He's got all these great plans and programs he wants to do. So he goes down the street to the Federal Reserve, and he walks in the door, and there's the Federal Reserve officer, and he says, I need $1 billion. So he cuts him a check, and boom, $1 billion comes into existence. $1 billion that never existed all of a sudden exists just because he wrote the check. The Federal Reserve is not federal. That name was created by the 7 men on the island to sell this to the people, so they think that it was a government agency. Well, it's not federal, and they don't have reserves. They have a checkbook, which actually is a computer. They just create the money on the computer system, and there it is. So, the government, they get the $1 billion, they go down to the bank, they deposit it, then they can start cutting checks. They start paying all their government workers. And so we'll simplify this down. We'll say that here's one postal worker, he gets a $1,000 check out of this money. He had no idea that this money never even existed at all in the entire universe before a few days ago. But here he has his check, he goes down to his local bank, he puts it in the bank, and the banker comes running out and says, hey everyone, I just had a $1,000 deposit. I can now make $9,000 in loans. And so this guy says, well, I need a loan. And he says, well, this guy only made $1,000 deposit. Well, don't worry about that. I can loan you $9,000. He says, well, how's that work? Well, don't worry. You know, you don't need to worry yourself with that. That's complicated banking business, and you don't need to worry. I can loan you the money. So he writes him a $9,000 check. Says, here's, you know, write up a little contract. Boom. Another $8,000 comes into existence that never even existed. I'm sorry, $9,000, because the other $1,000 still stays there with the bank. And so this goes on, and all the money is created this way. You know, when I bought my house, I signed the line, you know, over a year ago, $200,000. Boom, came into existence the moment I hit the pen to the paper. But yet we're paying all the interest on all this money. That's where the cartel, you know, just keeps rolling right along. They're getting all this interest off all of this nothing. It's all paper nothing. So we're paying all this interest off of paper nothings, and it's not going to continue on forever. People need to understand what's happening. Gold and silver are real money. They have been for thousands of years. You need to start getting yourself some gold and silver, and, you know, just need to start educating ourselves on this. And the Federal Reserve, you know, the Federal Reserve System has caused the crash of '29. They've caused this current crisis we're in. They've caused all the recessions, because they say, oh, well, you know, the Federal Reserve is good because it manages the economy and creates stability. No, it does just the opposite. It doesn't create stability, it creates instability, because they hold interest rates low, they make money cheap, so everyone, you know, the money's flowing, and then people are just borrowing tons of money, and then, you know, this whole housing problem we're having is created by the Federal Reserve. Alan Greenspan held the interest rates down to near zero for a year, created all this cheap money, and, you know, so we got to get back onto a free market system where the interest rates are created by the free markets. We can't have Ben Bernanke sitting up there creating interest rates to whatever he thinks they should be. I mean, we need change, and, you know, I don't think we need the change that was talked about before our current president was elected. We need real change. We need to change the monetary system. Things that are probably boring to a lot of people. You know, oh wow, I don't want to talk about the monetary system. How boring is that? Well, they're important things, and the way that we're headed, we're going to head for a crash. Will be, you know, the New World Order. You know, they have it planned to where the crash of the money is planned by the elites. They can usher in the New World Order. We'll probably have some UN money or an Amero, or they'll probably skip right over the Amero, and we'll be on a global currency. It's not far in the future, but I don't think it's inevitable that it ends that way. You know, I think that the story of the planet Earth can still have a different ending, but not if people don't wake up. I mean, the sheep will have to wake up and stop caring about American Idol. Oh, did they get voted off? I mean, that's so unimportant. What's important is we got to learn that we've been duped. That all of our money, you know, this money has just been created out of nothing, and it just caused inflation. The dollar was worth $1 in 1913. It's worth 5 cents now.